Hello everyone, I'm JG. Welcome back to Music Forever, where today I'm reviewing the Maine's new album, Lovely Little Lonely. Now before I start this video, I just want to say, if this video looks a bit different than any of my other videos, it's because the camera I've been using actually broke on me, so I'm borrowing one of my family members' cameras just to get this video done. I had ordered another video camera that was supposed to be here today, but it's not here. So yeah, thanks Amazon Prime, just said it was going to be here 2 days, and it wasn't. If you have had any bad experiences with Amazon Prime, leave it down in the comment section below, because yeah, I need some place to vent my frustration about that. So back to the main subject of this video. I jumped aboard the Maine fan base back when they released their last album, American Candy. I really liked that album. And as far as their other albums go, I do like them, but there's none of them that really, I think are super great. I do think that they are good to varying degrees, but as I just said, American Candy is my favorite project from them. Now the reasons why I liked American Candy so much, and the rest of the Maine's discography kind of by extent, is that this group has a very interesting take on the whole pop punk and pop rock genre. They kind of lack some tendencies that are very common in pop punk bands. Kind of the whininess at times, and the immaturity that's sometimes found in the lyrics. Here, their lyrics are a lot more mature with this group, and the vocals aren't whiny at all. I would say the lead singer of this band, his vocals are a bit more, not whiny, a bit more typical of an alternative rock band. They're unique for a pop punk band. I wouldn't say they're super unique for all the music in general, but for the genre that they're working with, it's pretty interesting and it's pretty different, and it provides a newer, I think a more mature perspective on a genre that's typically not seen as being very mature. Yet, while the group's lyrical and vocal presentations may be different, their instrumentals were close enough to the rest of the pop punk genre to get them kind of grouped with that. And I am very happy that this group is doing different things within this genre that typically bands don't do much different stuff with. And here on Lovely Little Lonely, they're kind of continuing on with the similar sound that they've carved out for themselves before. In fact, I unfortunately think that this album doesn't change enough up. At times, this project doesn't really stand up quite to American Candy that preceded it. And I know it's not exactly fair to compare albums all the time within an artist's discography. It's kind of unfair to say, well, this album isn't as good as their best work, so it's not great. However, given that they just came off of that album, and I do think it was a fantastic album, and this project doesn't exactly follow up with all too much that's really all that interesting. The project starts off with some very strong songs, in my opinion here. The songs they hear at the beginning are more energetic, more single-like, I would say, such as the track Bad Behavior, the first single from this project, I believe. I didn't listen to any of the singles before this was released, but this track kind of has, an infectious chorus, and it's just, very typical, in my opinion, very upbeat, something that I think people are going to be, listening to a lot in the summer. I think it would fit perfectly within that atmosphere. However, it's not super memorable or anything like that, but, for a single, that's kind of expected. The opening track here on this project, Don't Come Down, is also another energetic track here. I think it's a good opener to this project. It gave me high hopes listening to this, that this was going to be a good project. And, going forward with this album, I do want to mention that there's kind of these, the title tracks, I guess you could say, Lovely, Little, and Lonely. The first one, Lovely, is kind of just a little interlude that leads into the fourth song here, Black Butterflies and Deja Vu. I really like how this interlude just kind of fades into the track. I think it's very nicely done. However, on its own, I don't really see much of a reason for Lovely to exist, I guess you could say. It could have just been put at the beginning of Black Butterflies and Deja Vu, just as part of that track, and I think it would have made just as much sense in my opinion, but, that's just me. As far as Black Butterflies being its own track here, I think it's a very good song. Definitely the highlight of the album in my opinion. It definitely shows the more creative side of the Maine, and it provides a more memorable track here compared to some of the other songs in the track listing. Now, concerning the next interlude, kind of title track, Little, it builds on the first one a bit more. It's a bit longer, has a bit more to it. However, I still think it's just as unimportant in the grand scheme of things, and I don't think it flows into the next track quite as well as the first interlude did. And the last one, Lonely, is a full-fledged track here, and unfortunately I think it might be the worst track on the album. You know what it kind of reminds me of? It reminds me of Justin Bieber's newer stuff, like not when he was little and before puberty happened, Justin Bieber, the really annoying one, kind of like the more modern one that's just, really boring to listen to, that kind of Justin Bieber, which I guess beats the younger Justin Bieber that's super annoying, but still not exactly something I would ever kind of want to listen to. The track just is really boring in my opinion. And, while I do think some of the other songs here aren't super interesting, this one here is the only one that, really kind of wants me to skip over it. Fortunately, the closing track, How Do You Feel, I think picks things up a bit more. It's one of the better tracks, again, in my opinion. And another track I do want to talk about is the track Lost in Nostalgia, and this track is one of the shorter ones also. It's almost the length of an interlude, I guess you could say, but, you know, it is a full kind of fledged track, and it does have this really nice kind of funky bass going throughout it. However, my only problem with the track is it's not long enough, in my opinion. It's not, you know, fully fledged enough to kind of be something really strong on its own. The elements in the song I really like and are some of the highlights on the album in my opinion. It's just there's not enough of it here. Like I said, it's almost like an interlude almost in terms of how much you're getting really from it. And I know that, you know, having short songs is a thing that's possible. Believe me, I listen to lots of bands that are able to put out a minute and 40 long songs that, you know, have a lot to them, but that's kind of the thing. They have a lot to them in that 1 minute and 40 second runtime. Here, not as much. I mean, what you get is really cool, but I'd just like to see more of it. Overall, concerning this album, I just think that it's average, really. It's not exactly... I mean, I know comparing it to American Candy is, you know, kind of pointless considering that's a different album, and I didn't want this album to be a second American Candy. I don't want it to sound like I'm saying that, you know, I only wanted them to make American Candy from here on out, just because I really like that album. I do want the band to kind of expand and do bigger things with it, but that's kind of the problem here, that they don't. In fact, this album is, you know, kind of stagnant, I guess you could say, in concerning their career. It's really just, they're not really moving it forward a bit, maybe even moving it back a little bit in parts. It's just really not an interesting project here. It's like some of these songs I listen to and I can't remember them a few minutes later. And, you know, I listened to American Candy more times than this, and maybe that's why, but after the amount of spins I gave this album, I already had American Candy pretty much, you know, memorized. I was kind of like addicted to that album. Here, I can't be bothered to even remember most of the songs, which is a pretty big problem in my opinion. And the tracks that I do really like here only kind of stand out because of the tracks that surround them. Just on their own, really, if they were put into a context of a better project, they may be some of the weaker songs. And, you know, that's just how it is here. It's just not really a lot going on, in my opinion. It just kind of falls flat here. And the experiments that they're taking, I do appreciate them trying to try out some new stuff, but it just kind of sounds boring and flat overall in the execution. So I'd recommend this album to the hardcore Maine fans, because they're the ones that I think are really going to get something from this project. If you're new to the group, I recommend starting with some of their older works that, you know, kind of define their sound a bit better and, you know, just are better at works as a whole, in my opinion. Thanks for watching this review. If you enjoyed it, I'd greatly appreciate it if you'd leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any other future reviews that I'm doing. Thanks for watching. If you have anything you'd like to say, leave it down in the comments below. Thanks, and stay golden.